From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Young.
Welcome into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We can't hear the audio, so we're going off finger points, finger guns. You can't just, use finger guns anytime you want, Mo.
Yeah, because sometimes they mean something. Huh?
That's where you're wrong, kiddo. Yeah. So welcome in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We were a little caught off guard, but it's all good because it's Thursday, and that means high school football is just around the corner, the literal corner of midnight, as tons of football action to take place, tons of football action that will not take place. So 24 games this week canceled due to COVID-19. So that's an unfortunate byproduct of, obviously, COVID and what we have dealt with for now going on 2 years at this point.
Yeah, the second football season to be affected by it, and it's a little close to home this week.
Yes, as you've probably seen on Twitter, Summit and Spring Hill, the Battle for the Hill, has been canceled. We got a text from Brian Coleman saying that was canceled and that they would not be. You'll hear an interview from Brian Coleman later. And full disclosure, he's practicing right now. So we had to tape that interview, and he was still looking for a game at that time. He's no longer looking for
he
a
has
game,
shut down that search. Yeah. So Summit Spring Hill canceled. As we reported earlier in the week, both Chattanooga Central at Franklin County and Whitwell at Huntland have been canceled as well. So at least 3 games in our listening area now have been canceled due to COVID.
That's correct. I want to get to the top stories here, and that is obviously a top story, but I want to talk as much as we can about some other stuff, because we've kind of run COVID into the ground this week, as far as those games that have been affected. But before we move on, we do want to just give you the final list that we have available to us right now. And that is South Pittsburgh, Chattanooga Christian, Bledsoe County, Moore County, Ottawa Red Bank, Hickson Notre Dame, Chattanooga Central Franklin County, Meigs County Kings Academy, Whitwell Huntland,
Gallatin Blackman, Smyrna Rockvale, Hampton Johnson County, Red Boiling Springs Tennessee Heat, East Hickman Camden, Jackson County York Institute.
And there's Daniel Boone, Westridge, Ray County Elizabeth, then Lake County Obion County, Warren County White County, Spring Hill Summit, Wartburg Harriman, Southwind Kirby, Midway Lakeway Christian, Stewart County Gibson County, and Stewart's Creek East Nashville.
And I think that's pretty up to the minute, because both Summit Spring Hill and Stewart's Creek East Nashville were
within the last hour or so. Yeah. So that is pretty well, like you said, up to the minute. Moving on in high school football news, pretty cool to hear that the Tennessee Titans gave $50,000 to the Waverly community for relief in their flood. Waverly lost their entire football stadium, said it wasn't in great shape to begin with. And well, now there's nails and all kind of debris all over the field. There's no fence. The stands aren't in great shape. They didn't have equipment. I think Mount Juliet helped them with some equipment issues. But all of that. And now they were planning on playing all of their games on the road, but the time
they'll still be on the road.
Right, but they will be the home team potentially for some games potentially at Nissan Stadium.
Yeah, the Titans offered use of Nissan Stadium to the Waverly Central football team. Don't know if that was for multiple games, if that was for a game. Not real clear on, the specifics of that, but the offer has been made by the Tennessee Titans for Waverly to play at Nissan Stadium, was the way it was phrased. So be interesting to see how that.
They didn't say inside Nissan Stadium. They said at it's going to be in the parking lot. That's terrible. Words have meaning. Words have meaning.
There's that.
We're going to play
big difference in at Nissan Stadium and in Nissan Stadium, huh?
There certainly could be. Yeah. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying there could be. Y'all didn't read the fine print.
Or the big print.
Clearly.
Yeah. No, I think the Titans had the best intentions when they made that offer.
I'm sure.
And I think that would be a real treat for Waverly in the midst of a really tough time right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes about and who winds up playing there and how it goes.
Yeah. A lot of people have reached out and it's not unusual for Tennesseans to step up in situations like this. We saw it in 2010. We saw it last year with the tornado.
Right.
We've seen Tennesseans come together and just absolutely shower devastated areas with whatever they needed. And the GFWC is a women's group out of Spring Hill. They've decided that they're going to replenish the Waverly Library with books because the library was pretty well taken out, and not the school, but the public library in town. So just everybody doing things like that. That's something that has become just commonplace. I mean, if an area is devastated, everybody from Bristol to Memphis is taking care of them if they can. So it's pretty cool.
It's the volunteer state.
That's why they call it the volunteer state, Chris.
There you go.
Yep. Speaking of teams that won't be playing at home this week, Waverly not the only one. Fairview will not be playing at home against Creekwood. They'll have to travel over to Creekwood because even though we talked about it earlier this week and thought, oh yeah, Fairview's turf's going to be done, it is in fact not done.
Yeah, there were some minor details with numbers or something like that did not
numbers
arrive.
And letters. I guess letters for the end zone.
It's the only place I would know that letters would be, but yeah. So apparently they ran into some issues with the new surface there. They played at Page last week, which that was scheduled to be a road game anyway. But again, this week's home game against Creekwood will now play at Creekwood, which I'm sure has got Chris Hughes disappointed.
Oh, he's not happy.
Him and his yellow end zone.
He's not happy.
Understandably.
I can tell you. Yeah. You look forward to it all year. I mean, you're like, man, I can't wait to get on this turf. Can't wait to get on this turf, especially with the type of offense he plays. And then you can't
get on the turf
because you have to wait.
And I think I'd be interested to hear what Williamson County schools officials have to say about this process, because there were 3 new surfaces installed this summer at Centennial, at Ravenwood, and at Fairview. Centennial was the only one to be ready in time for the start of the season. Ravenwood was supposed to play at home last week against MBA, wound up having to move to MBA. Centennial did actually get to play at home against Overton as scheduled. And again, Fairview running into this issue here this week, forcing their game to be moved.
Obviously, last week it rained literally every day. So I get like having some issues, but yeah, I mean, can't be great if you are a National Turf Company.
Well, my thing is, why are you into the week of the first game and still zipping things up? As
Literally.
yeah.
Not sure. I don't know. As we get ready to talk high school football, and we will continue to do that, National Weather Service tomorrow night, 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1 p.m. Skies will be mostly sunny with a high near 93 in the Nashville area. Heat index could reach 98, Mo. South winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Expect partly cloudy skies, a low around 73 and soft wind. So there you go.
Sounds like poncho weather.
I'm going to have
potentially.
mine. We're going to be talking about some high school games. Obviously, we've got our game of the week, and then we'll talk about other games in the listening area in hour number 2. But real quick, Ryan Tannehill has COVID, and he's on the COVID list along with 8 others for the Titans. So there's that. Should be. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, obviously, on this show. But first, Mo, before we get to our game of the week, we have to tell you about the rundown.
This is the Rundown. The Thursday Rundown is brought to you by Barry B. Coble with Crest Point Wealth Management. Barry B. Coble with Crest Point Wealth Management offers personalized wealth management strategies for clients based on where you are in your financial journey. Go see Barry at Crest Point Wealth Management at 700 North Main Street in Columbia. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member, FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Crest Point Wealth Management and Cambridge are not affiliated.
In Major League Baseball action on Wednesday, St. Louis defeated Detroit 3-2 in 10 innings. It was the Cubs and Rockies splitting a doubleheader. Cubs 5-2 in the opener, Rockies 13-10 in the nightcap, and the Brewers defeated the Reds 4-1.
In volleyball action tonight, Columbia Academy travels to Middle Tennessee Christian at 5:30. Culleoka going to Moore County at 6. Loretto hosting Hampshire at 6. And Mount Pleasant travels to Summertown also at 6.
Also at 6 o'clock, Santa Fe goes to Harpeth, and Spring Hill plays at Columbia Central at 6:30. Covenant is at Zion Christian. Also, Summit is at Brentwood at 6:30, and Independence plays at Page at a time unknown to us.
In girls soccer action, it's Richland going to Cornersville at 5:30 at 6. Culleoka travels to St. Cecilia. First touch at 6 at Columbia Academy, where Webb Bobuckle visits. And then Zion Christian is at Spring Hill, also first touch at 6 p.m.
7 o'clock starts for Brentwood at Independence, Centennial at Summit, and Columbia Central at Rossview.
In golf action, Columbia Academy and Lipscomb Academy, as well as Marshall County, are at Graymere. Columbia Central and Spring Hill are playing somewhere. I don't know where. They're playing somewhere. East Hickman, Frank Hughes, Hampshire, Santa Fe, Zion Christian, all at the Mount Pleasant Country Club. That was a 3:30 start. And then Independence and Page are at the Tauhee. We got to call somebody and figure out how to say that. They started at 4 o'clock. It's in Spring Hill, formerly Kings Creek. There you go. And then Summertown is at Hohenwald today. So there you have it. That is your Thursday rundown on Southern Middle Tennessee sports today. And as we've told you, we do have our fast stop game of the week coming up. We'll talk about Independence and Lipscomb Academy. Independence twice in a row, but it is what it is. We'll talk about Brian Coleman. We'll let you hear that interview as we caught up with him earlier this afternoon. And of course, we will preview every game in the Southern Middle Tennessee sports coverage area, as well as a few others in our listening areas. So stick around. And of course, at the end, we'll pick these games, tell you who we think is going to win. So all of that coming up on Southern Middle Tennessee sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. So you guys stick around. We'll be right back right after this.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me, Chris? Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. You did. Thirty seconds. Are you seeing? You're able to see me? Okay. All right. All right. We're 10 seconds back to rejoin. I'm hang up. Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. My dad just texted and said, JP wants to know if y'all can hear him. I can hear him on YouTube. So it's pretty great. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you could hear us if had we not been muted. I muted us, Mo, but
We did mute JP.
JP was not muted, and so
That's probably best.
yeah,
that we were muted and that JP wasn't.
So it's pretty funny. Oh man. So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about in this segment. Now we are live from the Lee Company studio. WZYX 94.5, the Eagle. KOM 1017 FM as we continue talking about high school football in and around our coverage area. We were talking about what's going to be our fast stop game of the week. I mean, we had, NDCPA was last week and we kind of already done them, but number 11 Independence and number 5 Lipscomb Academy, kind of hard.
Tough to pass up.
Kind of hard not to say, well, I guess we're just going to do what we do. And
tough to pass up. I mean, again, as you mentioned, Independence number 11 in the Main Street Media top 25 this week after their 48-21 loss to CPA. Lipscomb Academy number 5 in said poll ranking after their 76-7 win over Greater Atlanta Christian. Yeah, 76-7. Also, Independence tied for 10th in this week's Associated Press Class 6A statewide poll, and Lipscomb is second in Division 2AA in the AP poll. So, I mean, I just don't think there is a better matchup out there in terms of rankings and that type thing than that ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Obviously, you're talking about, two teams who are very good. I mean, and if you look through our coverage area, this is by far the best game. And like I told you, at some point you can try to work around it, but not at the expense of losing credibility.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious that this is the game of the week. So that's what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about 76 points, 28 in the first quarter, 34 in the second quarter. So that's 62 points
at the half.
Yeah. 62-7 at the half, because it was at one point 14-7 with 3 minutes and 53 seconds to go in the first quarter. It was 14-7 Lipscomb Academy.
So Lipscomb Academy scored 48 unanswered before halftime.
Yes. Just, going through the leaders here. And this is, again, I mean, Lipscomb kind of, they did what they could do. They did. It's not like they didn't run it up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of scores were, from turnovers. They had 2 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions. So 4 turnovers for, I guess we're calling them Greater Atlanta Christian School.
GACA.
Sure. Yeah. Lipscomb Academy only had 468 yards of total offense.
Only 468. Okay.
But for 76 points, only 468 seems appropriate.
That's fair.
I mean,
fair.
I would think, so you scored 76 points, you must have had,
700 yards. Yeah.
But apparently that was not the case. Ran it 32 times for 190 and completed 18 of 18 passing. That's right. You heard me. Luther Richardson was 16 of 16 for 277, 3 touchdowns. Hank Brown was 2 for 2 for 1 yard.
That's pretty pinpoint.
I don't really know what else you call it.
18 of 18.
Yeah. That's impressive. And then you had,
there are coaches that would tell you we couldn't do that throwing against the air.
Right.
I
mean, you had 4 catches each for Bo Dawson, Jr., Sherrill, and Alex Broom. 94 for Dawson and a score, 86 for Sherrill and a score, 68 for Broom and a score. And then they just kind of, did what they do on defense. As they only had 1 quarterback sack, but did have 5 tackles, 6 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. I was just adding up in my head as we go. About 8 tackles for loss. So, just obviously this team is really good. And Independence is going to have its work cut out for them, but I don't think they are just otherworldly good.
Mm-hmm.
And Independence has a couple of guys on their team that can get it too.
I think the bigger concern probably has to be at this point defensively for Independence because they just gave up 48 last week. Obviously they want to score the ball, as they say in basketball, and I'm interested to see how Joe Cummings comes along after getting his initial start under his belt and what that Independence offense is able to get done again with Ty Lockwood, with Trey Hartwell and River Katina and those guys. Jack Rummel with the big game the other night, 5 catches for 194 yards and a touchdown.
Well, 90 of that came on
92.
one
Yeah.
catch. So
Still.
I mean, still at 100.
So that's 4 for 102.
102. That's a pretty good day.
Still not bad.
It's a good day.
So, I think Indy offensively, the talent is there. It's just a matter of executing on a consistent basis.
And they have to, because that was the problem. 0 for 6 on third downs last week. And
that's not a number
that's why
Scott
the
Blade's gonna
defense
be happy with. Yeah.
That's why the defense gave up 48 points.
Because you've got to be able to sustain some drives
yeah.
and keep them off the field.
CPA ran 68 plays. Of course they're tired. They should be.
Yeah.
Your offense has to do a better job.
Yeah. But they're certainly going to be challenged. You mentioned Alex Broom, Boston College commit. What did he finish with? You've closed it?
Yeah. Broom had 4 catches for 68 yards
and a touchdown.
Yeah. Receiving. He also ran. He also had some rushing yards, but I'm not sure. Let me get to it real quick. I'd clicked off of it going back to Independence, but he ran for 52 yards and a couple scores on 9 carries. Aiden Houston led the way with 72 yards on 13 carries. So
an efficient
night
for Mr. Broom.
Yeah, 5.8 yards carry. That's a pretty good night. And that's and he's kind of that dual threat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to make sure that you cover him out of the backfield. If he runs the ball, he's a threat there.
That's got to be some wheel route action there.
You're going to see, you're going to see not Engel Martin, crap. Trent Dilfer.
There you go.
Dial up some, unique plays because you have to beat teams like Independence. And I mean, even CPA did it last week. You're going to see Independence is really strong up front. They're a good defensive team up front. They've got some guys in the secondary that can play with you. River Katina didn't play as much on defense as I expected, but his brother was very good on defense. So I think, this is a game that is going to end. It's going to hinge on whether or not Independence can sustain offensive drives.
That makes sense. And again, coming off of last week, that's probably something that the Eagle coaching staff has been preaching all week. We've got to sustain drives. We got to keep the defense off the field and possess the ball. And that's how you avoid giving up 48 points. I mean, if you've got the ball, they don't.
Yeah, both of those interceptions. One of them which ended up being a pick 6 for CPA. Probably not a great decision, but the first interception on his first throw was, it was a wet ball. It went through the hands of Rummel and, into a CPA defender's arms. And that's the kind of thing that kind of puts you behind the 8 ball already. And then they block a punt that they return for a touchdown. So then you're up 14-7 with some momentum. And then after that, it just felt like the wheels just kind of fell off offensively or defensively because of the offense.
Right.
So you're right. I think Scott Blade, how Scott is. I mean, this is a guy who he's never really happy even after a win because he's going to find something to improve upon. Now, like you said, the team's best improvement is between week 1 and week 2. And I think we're going to see it this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think he's had some things that he's pounded on, and like you said, and that's not to cast any aspersions on Scott. He just wants the best out of his ball
Right.
club.
No, it's
and so
it's a positive
if he finds something, and he will, to harp on, he's going to harp on it. And 0 for 6 on third down.
3 turnovers.
He'd be derelict in his duties if he didn't drive that one home to his team. So, you just like defenses preach getting off the field on third down, on offense, you got to stay out there. You got to find a way to convert that, keep the chains moving.
Yeah, and conversely, CPA converted 7 of 11 and 1 of 2 on fourth down. So, I mean, this is the way Independence, and we've seen this before. We've seen Independence come out and, struggle in week 1 and then turn it around and become one of the best teams in that, what was Region 6A, now 7-6A. They're not going away.
No.
They're going to be a tough out no matter who they play. And again, CPA and Lipscomb Academy doesn't mean anything in the long run.
CPA and Lipscomb are ranked number 1 and number 2 in the state in Division II AA.
And played in the state championship against each other last year.
Right. So, I mean, worst case scenario, 0-2 still doesn't keep Independence from achieving anything that it wants to achieve. Meanwhile, they found out a lot about themselves in these first 2 games. And one thing that they found out, and you pointed this out earlier in the week, you may want to give it to Trey Hartwell more than 15 times.
And that's not really what Scott Blade has typically done.
But I don't know that he's had a running back like Trey Hartwell.
Not a guy who can carry it 20 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hartwell can take the beating. I mean, he's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not Troy Henderson, and there was another one before Troy, and I don't remember his name, but was also very good. I mean, you're right. The running back situation that they've had in the past isn't quite as good. But one thing that Scott Blade has done in the past is find a way to cater his offense to his strengths.
Absolutely.
And yes, Joe Cummings is a strength. Ty Lockwood is a strength. River Katina is a strength, but Trey Hartwell is a strength.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can lean on him more on those 3rd and 3s instead of trying to throw the ball, I think that will bode well for the Eagles.
Well, sure, because I mean, it's going to give defenses something else to think about in those 3rd and short, 3rd and medium distances. If
you can't just drop 8
mm-hmm.
and dare them to throw it,
that's going to open a lot of other things up.
Because number 6 is right there, and he might take it to the house.
He
if you
might
do.
take it to the house. Yeah,
We've seen it.
If you're dropping 8, yeah.
So that's kind of something that I think
that's a chess match
and
that you're going to see.
I'm excited to see how it plays out on Friday night at Lipscomb Academy as the Eagles travel to the Mustangs, Dilfer's Dimes.
If you're going that way, parking is traditionally a little dicey because Lipscomb is a little landlocked. So just kind of bear that in mind if you've not been to a football game at Lipscomb. It's finding parking. If you come rolling in there at 6:20 or 6:30 for a 7:30 kick, you may have some issues.
And to clarify, it's a 7:00 kick, not a 7:30 kick. But yes.
If you come rolling in there 30 minutes before kickoff,
yes,
you may have an issue.
Yeah, you will. And luckily, I'm not going. I'm like, hey, I have to deal with that. Dixon's got plenty of parking. So
They do.
All right, that's going to do it for our fast stop game of the week. Independence at Lipscomb Academy. We're going to take a quick break because when we come back, we get to talk to Brian Coleman. JP has left us a note to go to 43 after. So we will go to 43 after.
So we need to go for another 3 minutes.
2 minutes now, but yes.
Here's what we can do for 2 minutes.
Sure.
We can tell you that Zion Christian in 8-man football will try again to open the home portion of its season as Providence Christian comes to Holcomb Field. I believe that is a 7 o'clock kickoff. They played Saturday at home against Franklin Classical. They got in the first quarter. They got to about the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. They had a lightning delay. They had rain. They had more lightning. They finally shut it down. I think they're going to try to make that game up at the end of both Zion's and Franklin Classical seasons. So we are back against Providence Christian on Friday night. I guess this would now qualify as the home opener since they didn't officially play last week.
Yeah, that's tough. Man.
Zion coming off of a loss 2 weeks ago up at South Haven Christian, 30-18. They were tied 6-6 as Max Brown, who scored 3 times in that South Haven Christian game, scored for Zion in this one as well. So all 4 of their touchdowns to this point have been by Max Brown.
That's not surprising.
You may want to keep an eye out for him if you're
He's
Providence
good.
Christian.
Shh. Stop telling Jeff Jordan secrets. He'll be mad at you.
Yeah, he's number 81. No, actually, he's not. I'm just if you're Providence Christian.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to Holcomb Field being full again, and this week hopefully no rain.
Well,
so to the 40
based on that forecast you read in the first segment.
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's right. All right, we are going to take that break now. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns right after this on
That was just you with a brain fart.
Hey guys, how y'all doing out there? I don't know if we're muted or not, but what was that, JP?
Oh, you can hear me. Maybe not your dad can hear me, though. That's all that matters. Chuck Yao listening in on YouTube, Facebook. You're in the break for Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Talking high school sports, here's Mo and Chris.
Yeah, they'll know as much as we know about them as they know about us. So, I mean, you know what I mean?
Would you be willing to push to Saturday if necessary in order to play, or
No, because we got Brentwood next week. So
oh, got you. Okay.
And we know what Saturday afternoon games feel like in this particular week
Amen.
of the season.
Oh, good Lord!
How
Yeah,
about
don't remind me of that. That
That's
was
exactly right. It was kind of warm last year, wasn't it? Golly,
no, it was not kind of warm, Brian. It was hot. it was
wow.
it was about as uncomfortable as I've ever been at a high school football game. Yeah, that's tough. But Brian, I had wanted to get you this week as you went into this game, because my concern was coming off the game y'all were coming off the game that they were coming off of. My concern was, how do you keep your team focused? And so I guess I can kind of tweak that question. What type week of practice do you feel like you guys had getting ready for the game that you're not playing?
I mean, actually, I thought we had a good week of practice. I mean, we've got a great group of kids. These senior leadership, and we got about 23 seniors. The senior leadership is unreal. They know what's at stake, and and I mean, yesterday we just could practice an hour outside because of the heat index, and it was one of the best hours we've ever had. And a couple weeks ago we had to go 5:30 in the morning. It was one of the best practices we've ever had. So I mean, these kids, we give them some adversity, and they sure do step up to it. And now we're going to face more adversity. But yeah, going in the spring game, they were focused. I mean, that's like a crosstown rival. So I don't think there was any way that they were going to let up, for sure.
It's interesting because the most successful football coach at the college level is Nick Saban. And Nick Saban talks about how, his teams don't prepare for their opponent. They prepare against perfection. Is that something that you have found that this team strives for?
What I've seen is we got to better ourselves. I mean, that's true. But even if we look at it as an offensive standpoint, from my standpoint as an offensive coordinator, we really hardly ever know exactly what we're going to get week to week as far as the defense goes, because we're so unique than other people. And not a lot of people have the tight end wing situation going on there. So sometimes we don't even have film them playing a tight end. So what we do is we block every defense that, known to man. And we've seen it now, even going through last year's playoffs. So, it's about knowing our rules and working on our fundamentals. And we watch film. Yeah, I do feel like we know what they're going to do, and we'll practice that. But then again, you got to be ready for the unknown. So you got to practice just your normal basic stuff also. Now, as far as defense goes with Coach Taylor, he's worked all week and on tendencies for Spring Hill. And now that's going to kind of suck that he thought he had some good tendencies for formations and plays and stuff like that. So, it's tougher on the defensive side, I would definitely say.
Speaking on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in College Grove.
Not College Grove.
Not College Grove. Chapel Hill. I'm sorry.
I thought you were just trying to avoid saying Chapel Hill with Brian Coleman on the phone.
No, I'm still wondering. The last time we had Brian Coleman on Coach's Corner, we asked him if he had been to From the Heart, and he hadn't. Have you corrected that?
I hope he has.
I still have not been. No, I haven't been yet.
He's like, oh crap.
Yeah. We got to get you in there to.
Well, I appreciate that.
We got to get you into From the Heart in Chapel Hill. But Brian Coleman, you talk about your offensive approach week to week. Destin Wade, you guys go to Paris. He goes for 265 yards and 4 touchdowns on 6 carries. You can never project or expect that type of performance. And everybody that's seen him play knows he's special. But where does that come from?
He's special. He's good. We had a game plan. Henry County just adjusted the stuff. Some overly adjusted some things and to like our strong side, and we just ran some weak side plays. And we ain't ran Destin at all in preseason. We're not gonna risk that. So we've got some plays where it's designed run for him, and you put the ball in his hands and you block it up pretty good up front. If he's got the safety to beat, 9 times out of 10 he's going to beat that safety. So he's just unique. And his first touchdown was just a drop back pass, and they just left a hole. I mean, they left a gap in their pass rush, and there he goes. So I mean, he's unique. He can score from anywhere. 98 yards, and that was a naked boot. So 98 yards on that play. Now
that's one way to get off the goal line, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. People say, "Well, you ran a naked boot from the 2." I was like, "Yeah, it's destined." So he's going to make
kind of gets an asterisk next to it, huh?
Yeah. If you have him, but I mean, now the offensive line did a great job blocking, and we had great blocking downfield. Brady Pierce and Brandon King both, even on those long runs, had great blocking downfield. Kind of shield. You can't crack back anymore. You know what I mean? You can't have that shield block. But you just kind of got to shield guys kind of with your hands, like, oops, I didn't mean to type deal. And we had that downfield and helped him out. But, he does make people miss. I'm not taking away from Destin's athletic ability. But, and we think he's gotten – everybody's like, man, he's gotten faster. He's put in the work this offseason. He didn't lay around and eat potato chips. He has worked his tail off, and we believe he's gotten faster and stronger than he was last year.
Brian, talk to me just a second about that crackback, because if you get your head across – that's supposed to be legal, right?
It just can't be. I mean, head across is fine, but a crack, I mean, you know how it used to be where you could just get to take a kill shot, coming back on somebody. So they did away with that. So, some referees will even, we just kind of shield, like, you know what I mean? I mean, that's what we're talking about doing. And because it's very effective just to get in the way. You know what I mean? Like even basketball type little shield play. So, just don't crack back. I mean, it's just, again, it's different crews. You're going to get different things for sure.
Right. 'Cause I asked because I saw one in the game that I was at last weekend where it looked good, but it was kind of from the side. And they flagged it. So, but yeah. I guess you don't know. You guys are still kind of in scramble mode, trying to get a game for tomorrow night at this point. Is that fair to say?
We're checking who all got canceled and who canceled on who, and I've made 2 phone calls already, and so I don't know. It's late. I know it's late. It'd be late for them too, but I really want to play. I don't want to. It's
late, and you're the 2020. It's late, and you're the 2020 Class 5A state champion. So y'all might just need to go to the movies tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know,
great.
Man. It just sucks.
Talking with Brian Coleman here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, head coach of the Summit Spartans on Coach's Corner, brought to you by From the Heart Cafe, located in Chapel Hill. You can go by and get some of the best burgers and desserts in Southern Middle Tennessee right there, just as you're heading toward Henry Horton. It's right there on the right. Don't turn left if you're coming from Columbia. You will not get there. Nope. Coach, as you know, as you keep preparing for one of the toughest regions in the state, and you have Brentwood coming up, as you mentioned earlier, an off week can be good and bad. But this team has some experience dealing with it. You guys only played, 6 regular season games last year. So how much does it help having gone through this before?
Oh, yeah. It's going to help tremendously. These same kids went through the same thing, the same feeling, the same heartbreak on a Thursday. I mean, we prepared all week. I mean, like y'all, we discussed. I mean, we prepared. We had a good week of practice. So even if it was a bye week, we probably practiced better than we would if it was a bye week. So, I mean, you always got to take the positive out of every situation. I think we'll do that if we can't find anybody. And like Brentwood's a big game next week. It's a huge game next week. So it's our first region game in this new region, and we're at Brentwood. So it sets the stage of a big, huge game for us. If we go into that healthy, then I guess we're healthy. It's just what we talked about last year, the rust. I mean, are you going to be rusty? Who knows? So, but a senior-laden team with good leadership, hopefully they won't be rusty.
Brian, did you learn of a cancellation this late at any point last year? I'm sorry.
Yes, Shelbyville was
Shelbyville.
Friday morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Shelbyville was Friday morning, but this is definitely. I think we had another Thursday night one. I see a Thursday day one because I can remember us being in the weight room on Thursday, and I'm making phone calls. I wasn't even in there. I don't think half the time. So it's happened this late before, yes, sir.
It's interesting that we've been looking forward to obviously Battle of the Hill all week, and I know you guys have too. So again, you guys, whether or not you play this week, you still have Brentwood coming up next week, and you kind of get that region schedule off the ground. How are you feeling right now with what you learned last week against a really good Henry County team going into region play?
I mean, feel good about our guys. I mean, we rode for 2 hours and played well. I mean, we were a little rusty from the start. Well, we dropped the ball on the ground and they recovered it and they went up 6-0 on us and we didn't tank. I mean, we just kept on rocking. So, I mean, this team is something special. I mean, you could tell that last year. So, feel good about it. Feel good about we're not beat up very bad and heck, I think everybody was surprised by that score. Maybe I was a little bit too, but you know what I mean? I just never thought we'd have a running clock again in Henry County in the third quarter. So, but I know what this team is capable of too, and they're capable of playing very, very well, playing very, very good football for sure.
Brian, you just pretty well stole my question. I was going to ask you, I mean, what is the scenario that gives you, 7 touchdowns, 6 offensive touchdowns at Henry County?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a lot easier to deal with that atmosphere and that siren when you're up by 2 or 3, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. I bet we didn't hear that sucker 2 or 3 times.
You took that siren right out of the equation, huh?
I mean, all week we're like, we want to shut that horn up. We don't want to hear that horn. And they did. So
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, mission accomplished. That's for sure. Because it's something different, man. It's like a lot of people want to check things off a bucket list to go watch high school football, like go to the pit at Lincoln County, go here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's right. Coach Brian Coleman here on Coach's Corner, brought to you by From the Heart Cafe. No game this week as of right now, but we'll let you know on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today if that changes. We appreciate your time, Coach. Thank you. We got to get out of here because we got to talk more high school football on the other side. It's our fast stop game of the week. It's Independence and Lipscomb Academy. So stick around on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bar and Joint. We'll be right back after this.
From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company Studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint, coming to you live from the Lee Company Studio and WKOM 101.7 FM, WZYX 94.5 The Eagle. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant with you here on this Thursday afternoon as we continue to count down high school football. And we are finally on Thursday evening as we have hit the 5 o'clock mark. So get ready to talk high school football all the way home tonight. Let me take you home tonight, little Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take you home with some high school football, Mo. We got a crazy week. You were supposed to go to Waverly and Columbia Academy. That got canceled. And then Spring Hill Summit, that one's been canceled. You just going to take the week? You going to go to the movies with Summit this week?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to embed myself with the Summit team and write something. No, I guess I'm going to go to Providence Christian and Zion Christian.
Seems as good as any.
Well, I mean,
you got two other options.
And at least one of them is across the river and the other is close.
Close enough.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, let's not talk about games that are across the river just yet. Let's start south.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence County and Loretto. Lawrence County only had two open dates for non-region games, and they chose to play both of them inside their county. They'll take on the Mustangs on the road. Traveling south will the Wildcats.
With a chance to win the Lawrence County Championship.
Yeah.
Following last week's, what was that score? 14-12? 16-12. Yeah. Following last week's 16-12 win over Summertown. So,
playing for the Van Johnson Cup.
I knew there had to be something. Yeah. I mean, you've got the Battle of the Buffalo. You've got the Pegasus Cup for Loretto and Summertown, which I think is really cool.
It is. It may be the coolest high school football rivalry trophy there is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you could not find, if you find one that's better, if there's one out there, let us know. But when you have the Mustangs and the Eagles and they play for the Pegasus Cup, you can't beat it.
Yeah. But you've also got the Van Johnson Cup, and Lawrence County has pretty well taken ownership of said cup. They have won the last 16 games in this series.
That's a lot in a row.
Yeah. Again, coming off that win over Summertown last week,
which is, JP said they've won the last 16, which is all of them.
All of them.
They've never lost to Loretto.
Okay.
So, there you go.
They've won all 16 in this series. Then does that make you feel better, Jonathan Paul?
And John Paul is.
They've only played 16,
he's Lawco through and through. I got it. Yes. Alex Carr, 85 offensive yards in that Summertown win. Left the game late with some cramping issues, so hopefully,
can't imagine why.
Hopefully, it won't be so humid and he won't be so fatigued late, because I know David Marston wants to have his 3-year starter at quarterback on the field. Although the backup didn't do bad, 1 pass, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, won the game. I mean,
so
it
is 1 for 1 for 19 yards and a touchdown. Gotta like that.
I'm sorry, Coach. What did you need? A touch? Oh, I got you.
I got you, Coach. Yeah. Chill. Pulled an Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Relax.
I got this.
Caden Porter was 68 yards rushing for Loretto in their 7-6 win over at Collinwood. So we've talked about Barry Daniels' squad and the confidence he feels in those guys after having a year under him. And so that'll kind of be put to the test tomorrow night. Loretto created 6 turnovers in that game against Collinwood. So pretty up. pretty opportunistic, but at the same time, you created 6 touchdowns and only scored once.
Yeah, you got to convert turnovers into touchdowns. That's how it works. And that's how, which I mean they converted enough. That one was plenty.
Well, but that was theirs.
So
yeah. So yeah, gonna be an interesting ball game again with the dominance that Lawrence County has shown throughout this series. It's Loretta. You kind of feel like Loretta's fighting uphill a little bit from an historical standpoint. So see how it goes.
Well, they're also a 2A school playing a 4A school, so there's that. And Lawrence County will be bigger up front, just like they were against Summertown.
Right.
Speaking of Summertown, they travel to Waynesboro, home of Greg Seitz. They take on Wayne County, and this one's, I mean, I feel like, Dakota Cruz is still looking for that. He's looking for that first win. Once he gets that, I think it's going to be positive for the Eagles. Obviously he knows he made some mistakes last week, and he's going to correct some of those. He knows some of his kids made some mistakes. He's going to coach that. So this is a game that Summertown can kind of right the ship.
I think this is a game that they can right the ship, but they've also got to deal with a pretty diverse Wayne County offense. The Wildcats put up 438 yards in a 35-34 loss at Hickman County last week, and Julian Burchett, 125 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. So got some game-breaking abilities there for the Wildcats. A quarterback, Austin Whitson, threw for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 of his 5 completions went for scores. So efficiency there.
Yeah, no, I mean, Wayne County they're no slouch, and haven't been.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that can be very good. I'll be interested to see how well Dakota Cruz is able to scheme for them. I mean, Summertown's still struggling numbers wise, especially with experience. So that could turn into a problem as well.
I think, and I could be wrong. I have been before, but I feel like Summertown should have an advantage on the edge against Wayne County with a Michael Edwards. With a Michael Abbott, or with a Javen Edmiston, with some of the guys, Gavin Robinson, with the receiving core that they can put out there. I'd like to think that they could make some plays out on the outside, and that could make a difference.
Yeah, I think Colton Schaefer at quarterback has to be a little more, as we keep saying, efficient with his throws. And, you have to, I think sometimes Colton lacks the confidence in himself to be able to make those throws, and he can do it. I mean, he's got talent. He's got the arm strength. He's got everything that you need. He just needs, and sometimes confidence is the key. It's not the tools.
And sometimes it's just that one play. You just got to let it rip. And again, he's got guys out there that can make plays. He's just got to let it rip. He was 6 for 12 for 44 yards the other night. They've got to be more productive in the passing game, I think, to take full advantage of all of their weapons.
Yeah, you're right, and they have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You've got running backs, Anakin Johnson, Javen Edmiston is available to run it, and defensively, I think they're pretty good, across the board.
Well, again, just like you just said, they played a 4A team last week and held them to 16 points.
When this team gets it going, if this team gets it going, I know last year they were 3-0 and then fell off the tracks, but I feel like this team's a little different. And once they kind of get going, it's going to be one of those don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through type things.
Got a lot of talent.
There's just so much talent. It's almost like it's hard to coach when you've got the options that they have. It's just a matter of figuring out who's going to be the successful one that particular night. Once they figure that out.
Yeah. Where's the mismatch?
Yeah. And how can you exploit that once they figure that? And I think Dakota Cruz can do that.
Identifying and exploiting mismatches.
That's it. All right, let's move on and talk about Marshall County and Shelbyville. This is not in our necessarily the print and online coverage area, but certainly in our listening area, both the Eagles and the Tigers.
Yeah. And these teams obviously coming off of two different outcomes. Marshall County with a 30-23 win last weekend here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium against Columbia Central. Shelbyville dropping a 28-14 decision on Thursday night to Tullahoma. Despite a pretty big performance out of Cade Cunningham, 94 rushing yards, 125 passing yards on 13 of 23 with a touchdown, 2 picks. Never led this game, though. Tullahoma scored the first touchdown in the second quarter. Shelbyville tied it on Cunningham's touchdown pass to Kendall Trice, and then Tullahoma went back up before the half. Shelbyville tied it again late in the third quarter, but Tullahoma pulled away with a pair of scores late for that one. So I think this Shelbyville team has got some pieces. Second year under
they have Cade Cunningham, so they've got one good one.
Well, they've got Cade Cunningham, and I think in the second year under Josh Puckett, who won a state championship his final season over at Lake County, I think they're coming along. I'm interested to see where this team goes. I just think that, again, there's a lot of talent over there, and like you said, it starts with Cade Cunningham.
The problem for Marshall County is they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. As you know, talked to John Moore earlier this week, the Columbia Central coach, and he said, last week was a physical game. Well, it was physical on both sides.
Yeah.
Because Marshall County starting quarterback Bryson Hammonds went out. They shifted Devontae Davis from receiver to quarterback, running primarily out of the Wildcat, but he did throw a couple of passes. He went down late. Don't believe either of those guys is expected to play this week.
Hearsay. But one of the Columbia Central training staff apparently said both tore ACLs. Hearsay. But if that's true, that's trouble.
That's big trouble for Marshall County. Yeah. Because Devontae Davis, I mean, his versatility was really obviously a strength for Marshall County in that ball game. He had a pick six to start the game. He caught a touchdown pass and ran for a touchdown. So
I'd say that's versatile.
Yeah.
He can score any way possible. If you can score that way, he can
do it. Yeah.
But he can't do it standing on the sideline
on crutches.
And that's unfortunate. Like you said, you don't expect him to play this week. So with that being said,
kind of changes things a little bit for them, because
not just for them, but that whole region gets really wild now.
That 9-team region.
Yeah.
That everybody starts playing next week. Yeah.
Good luck. I'll be interested to see how Justin Puckett and Coach Osteen over there take care of it. This will be a good one on Friday night. So make sure to keep an eye out and listen for the scores on TriStar Friday Night Live.
There you go.
All right. We are going to take a break, because when we come back, we're going to talk about some other games that are in our coverage area and one that's not. So stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Right back right after this. Uh-oh.
Talking high school sports, here's Mo and Chris.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint, coming to you from the Lee Company studio. Mo Patton, along with Chris Yao and JP Plant, pushing all the buttons, making all the videos work, etc., etc. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on WKOM 1017 FM, WZYX 94.5 The Eagle. We appreciate you guys as well down in Franklin County. And sorry we don't have any games to talk about down your way, but we couldn't get them to play each other.
We tried. We really did try. Yeah.
That would have been must-see television.
They would have sold a couple of tickets for that.
Just a few. Yeah. You'd think after a year like last year where you missed some, where you weren't able to make any money, that now's the time to make some up.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there, because we couldn't make it happen. So unfortunately this week we don't have any Franklin County games to talk about, but
still, check out Will Davis on Sports Mix Live as soon as this show gets over.
As soon as this show is over, Will Davis will have Sports Mix Live. He's got a girl on there who talks about the Reds, because apparently the Reds fans down there, or at least she is.
That's interesting.
So There's
Reds.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about Mount Pleasant and Scotts Hill. Mo, where is Scotts Hill?
It's across the river, and it's in Carroll County, I believe.
Carroll County's pointed out as kind of square, or at least that's what Porter Wagner told me. Where did I tell you to turn left earlier?
Linden?
No, you go past Linden and you turn left. Oh, darn.
It's in Reagan, I believe.
And
is it in Carroll County or is it in Decatur County?
It is Decatur and Henderson counties.
Ah, okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
There's that. That it's right before you get to Reagan, I guess. It's
got a Reagan mailing address on.
Yeah, but it's right there. You're going to turn left in Parsons.
There we go. Which is where Decatur County Riverside is.
Yeah, you turn left and go through Parsons and Decaturville. And
okay. Well, when you say you mean the general you, not the specific me.
Well, if you're coming from Mount Pleasant, you're probably going to go through Hohenwald and then Linden and then Parsons and then turn left in Parsons and make it almost to Reagan.
But if you get to Reagan, you went too far then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The Scotts Hill is like right on the edge of the high school. Is kind of like Spring Hill High School.
Oh, okay.
It's in Columbia kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Anyway, Mount Pleasant will travel over there, and it's not an easy trip. You can't get there from here.
It's not an easy trip, and it's not an easy team once you do get there. Scotts Hill beat Bolivar 28-12 last week, scored 3 touchdowns in the first half. Running back by committee, Jaden Johnson and Chance Rogers combined for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns and forced 3 turnovers, did the Scotts Hill defense. So
turnovers can be a problem, especially for Mount Pleasant. They have been the last couple of years. Taking care of the football is important, and you can have all the athletes in the world, but if you can't take care of it, you can't score.
Nope.
And you got that is rule number 1. Secure the football.
Yeah, DeMarcus Brown gives them some big playability on the outside. Caught 3 passes for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 each from Tavarius Strayhorn and Nick Brown. So again, you've got some big playability in the passing game. Again, Tyler Berry at tight end give you some things in the passing game as well. Again, as we talked about Independence earlier in the show, weren't able to sustain things offensively in that loss to East Hickman last week.
At some point, does Kent Hartsfield have to make a decision?
It's a good question.
I mean, if nobody's making you make the decision, I don't guess you have to.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you would like to see one of those quarterbacks just kind of take the situation by the throat.
But it's also kind of hard to do if I go out and score a touchdown, but I don't get to go back out the next drive. You know, it's kind of hard to take control of that situation.
Yeah, but if you go out and score touchdowns every time you do go out there,
there's that. You're right. I mean, but that's almost. I mean, that's nearly impossible. You're not going to see that very often. So that's kind of the situation that they're in. Is you can't really ride the hot hand because nobody gets the hot hand. So I'm curious how that's going to work out. But I think Mount Pleasant has some great athletes all over the field, and if they get a chance to get behind you, it can be over. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback.
And to your point, this may be a confidence situation as much as anything for Mount Pleasant. Again, this is a team that went 1-8 last year, did not have a whole lot of success. Obviously, they beat Loretto, and that was their only win. Lost some tough games early last year and just couldn't get the ship righted.
And that's something that you kind of have to worry about. Oh no, here we go again.
So
they need to get this win.
They need to win a ball game. They need to see themselves having some success and be able to build on it. And they need to do it, fairly early, like tomorrow night.
Yeah, sooner rather than later, no doubt. Let's move on and talk about Columbia Central as they travel to Dickson County. Lions will have a little tough test on the other side of the ball, at least the quarterback spot.
Yeah. And before you talk about the quarterback spot for Dickson County, you got to talk about this Columbia Central defense because, again, as we mentioned on yesterday's show, Nick Butler, Jay Frierson will not be dressed for this ball game due to disciplinary actions. One by the TSSAA, one by the school. Michael Johnson, a defensive lineman, will be out with a knee injury, as will Isaiah Cordell at safety. Antoine Moore is unavailable. So, you've got to be concerned about the defensive unit that's going over here to Dickson County. And as you mentioned, Kobe Lambert could be a next level quarterback.
I mean, if you're looking at strictly the physicality part of it,
the physicality and the arm talent,
he certainly has.
He looks the part.
He looks the part. He's got the arm strength. A couple of throws in that scrimmage or the jamboree that we saw him make were just insane. I mean, he has the ability to make every throw on the field, and you've got to pressure him. Now, the good thing is you can do that. This Dickson County offensive line is not great. So if you can pressure him and force him to make quick and poor decisions, then you got a chance to win. But that's the way to win this game.
And the thing is, I think even with a defensive line that's at less than full strength, I still think you can get some pressure with a Jace Hoth, with a Malik Smith, with some of the guys that they've got up front, with the freshman Jaravius Hall.
Even Lou Maddox gets, he plays on the outside and defensive tackle and is going to have to play some this week
with some of the people that they've got out. Yeah. So you've got some guys that can get some heat, I think. And at that point, the question becomes, with what you're missing in the back seven, are you going to be able to cover?
Well, here's the good thing is. The good thing is if you get pressure, he's got to throw it quick. They can't get behind you. So you just got to keep it in front of you as long as you can.
Yeah.
And hope your defensive line is able to get home.
Right. Offensively, I'll be interested to see how much Luke Usselton has progressed from week 1 to week 2.
I'll be interested to see how much wing T they're in, and I think it's going to be a lot. It was successful last week when they went to the wing T and you put Q Martin at wing back, it gets scary.
That guy with the ball in his hands is scary.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I'm telling you, Caden McCoy, 11 rushes for 58 yards, 1 catch for 39 yards and a score. That's 12 touches and 97 yards?
97 yards.
I mean, that's a kid that's got to have the ball.
When you talk about putting the ball in your playmakers' hands, right? You've got Caden McCoy, who's a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Q Martin. You've got Christian Biggers. You've got 3 guys right there. One who is a pound it down your throat and wear you down kind of back in Christian Biggers. And then a couple who can take it to the house at any moment.
And I'll tell you what, here's the deal. With Antoine Moore out this week, you may see McCoy and Biggers in the backfield because you might see Biggers at fullback.
Well, if they go to the wing, you'll probably see McCoy at a wing back and a single back in the backfield with they'll be in that diamond
double
formation.
Wing.
Yeah, that double wing. And if that's what they do and they're able to shorten the game, and that's I'm telling you, that's where Columbia Central is going to have success. And it's not, it ain't flashy, but it wins football games. And that's the point.
That should be the concern. Quandres Pete out with a high ankle sprain. Jordan Davis is back after going to the CP3 Rising Stars camp last week. So a little bit of a wash there at the receiver.
Gain one. Yeah. Right. And here's the thing. If Luke Usselton doesn't throw it but 10 times a game, but he completes 5 of them, that's a
particularly with that receiving core.
That is, and then of course you've got Jace Hoth, who is a great big target in the middle. That's where they're going to be successful if they're able to run that wing tee the way that we used to watch Brian Coleman and Summit run it, right? When you had guys like Ty Carter and Ethan Cash running it, and that can be successful for this team, and I think that's how they're going to win football games. So let's talk a little bit about Page and Franklin. What do you say? Franklin looking to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, after 37-0 at Riverdale.
And again, that's Riverdale, but
it is Riverdale, but still, I mean, you are a 6A football team. You went to the state quarterfinals a year ago. You don't expect to get shut out.
No.
And that's not the way Alex Melton wanted to introduce himself to the Franklin faithful. Not
at all. That being said, we were alerted to the fact that running back Bryce
Sparks.
I don't know, Bryce Long. Lord.
It's a familiar name, but I don't know where from. Anyway, but it's certainly not at Franklin.
Yeah, no. Bryce Sparks out, and he's kind of a guy their offense runs through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got to be successful for their offense to be successful, and without him, it could be another long night for the Admirals.
Yeah. Meanwhile, speaking of injuries, Jake McNamara for Page went down in the Fairview game.
Let's talk about Colin Hurd. My goodness.
Not to be confused with
Jalen Hurd
or Colin Cowherd.
That's yeah. So Colin Hurd steps in for Jake McNamara last week, and all he does
Colorado State commit
Jake
McNamara. Yeah.
All Colin Hurd does is go 10 for 14,
8 for 12,
100 plus yards, a touchdown, had a pick on defense and 7 tackles.
Slept well.
My goodness. I mean, when you're talking and he was, certainly deserving of earning Player of the Week honors from our friends at the Williamson Herald. This is you now have trouble if you are Alex Melton. So, because you don't know who to prepare for. Of course, both of them appear to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And Charles Rathbone's always going to have a good defense. So,
should be an interesting matchup.
I'm sorry. I was wrong.
What?
Colin Hurd was 8 for 12, 158 yards and 3 touchdowns on offense.
You were wrong.
So, yeah, had an 89-yarder to Boy Smith with 8:21 to play to put the game out of reach. So, there you go.
Don't shortchange
Mr. Hurd. No, sir. What we are going to do is get out and come back with some picks. We'll tell you who we think are going to win later this hour on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Be right back.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. And so excited to get a chance to pick again this week, because I don't think we're going to pick the same ones like we did last week, Mo.
I don't think we are either.
It's good. It's good. We don't need to go all season long. We just have the same record. That's no fun. Speaking of picks, we have our college football pick 'em. It's on our Twitter account, SM_TN Sports. You can.
Are there any games this weekend?
There is a game this weekend. I think Nebraska and Illinois play. So I think that's kind of, Labor Day weekend.
I don't have to pick that one, do I?
No. Okay, I think we're starting next week.
Okay, good.
I think it will start next week, but we are picking against the spread, and that's on ESPN. So check that out. It's on our Twitter account, the link to get to the pick 'em.
No prize at this point,
but that doesn't mean there won't be one by the end of the year. So
but certainly bragging rights.
Certainly that.
Yeah.
Last week, Mo, in high school pick 'em, you and I were right on the money with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Went 7-3.
We weren't right on the money. We were just right on the money with each other.
Yeah, we 7-3 is not bad though. I mean, 70%, I'll take it. Interested to see how this week goes as we get. Whoa, JP is throwing out crazy video options.
He's showing off.
Let's talk about Lawrence County, Loretto, the Van Johnson Cup. Lawrence County never lost.
Yeah. As JP pointed out, I made the mistake of saying they had won the last 16. They've won all 16. So,
well, they have won.
It 16. Didn't make me incorrect. So,
you weren't wrong. You just,
just wasn't completely right. But yeah, at any rate, I think Lawrence County wins all 17 after this one. As we mentioned, I think their size up front will ultimately make the difference in this one.
Yeah, I can't. You can't pick a team that's never won. Like, you're going to have to prove to me that you can win it before I'll pick you.
I'm going to have to be wrong.
So
yeah,
at least once.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go with the Wildcats as well. And the thing about this game is that it's intra-county. You are playing for something really important, and that is pride. And at the high school level, that's a big motivator.
No doubt.
And I just
pride and bragging rights.
So long as Alex Carr is available for Lawrence County, they should win. So
there we go.
Staying in Lawrence County, kind of Summertown, they travel to Wayne County and take on the Fighting Greg Seitzes. No. Who is the country singer from there? Is it how?
It's
Mark Colley.
Yep.
Mark Colley, whose brother David Colley is retired as
boys basketball coach.
That's right.
At Columbia Central.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I was glad you came up with Mark, because a lot of our listeners probably would have been looking for you with pitchforks otherwise.
Yeah. No, Mark Colley, Even the Man in the Moon is Crying, one of my favorites. Wayne County hosting Summertown. What are you thinking here now? I'll be interested to see.
Summertown hasn't really pulled it together offensively, and I think Wayne County is a little bit further along on that side of the ball. I like Wayne County close in this one.
I'm going to go with Summertown here. I didn't have to pull out the public apology last week. I think Summertown has lost 6-7 in a row at this point, dating back to last season.
Right.
I think they're going to right the ship this week, and I know my friends in Summertown will be happy to hear I got the Eagles.
Well, that's fine.
The Eagles.
All right.
Speaking of Top 5 Tuesday this week,
mm-hmm.
and go back and listen to that. Oh, let's go to Mount Pleasant. We'll stay in that same region with Loretto, Summertown. Mount Pleasant at Scotts Hill.
Mount Pleasant facing its second Region 6-2A foe after losing to East Hickman last week. And another team that I think underachieved offensively last week and still kind of has some question marks out there. And on the strength of that, I'm going with Scotts Hill.
Once again, I'm going to have to disagree with you.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Tigers, and it's because I think that's something that was probably very much a point of emphasis this week in practice is we can score on anybody. Let's go out and prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And this team certainly can. They have the ability at every position skill-wise, and they've got up good.
I don't disagree.
So
But
Kit Hartsfield is going to put it together.
potential just means you haven't done it yet.
That's right.
They've got a lot of offensive potential.
It's coming out this week after they turn left in Parsons and then drive another 30 minutes.
Well, I tell you what, that will make the drive back a lot more fun.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah. So,
because there's nothing to look at on the way there.
No.
If you are going to that game, make time to stop about halfway in Hohenwald and visit Junkyard Dog.
I'm not sure that's halfway is the only thing.
I don't know. It's probably about maybe 35% of the way.
Okay.
Either way,
Anyway,
it's in the middle.
Yeah.
You should stop.
It's
make
worth
some time.
it's worth the stop from what I'm told. I've not been, but
we're going to rectify that here very shortly.
we need to.
Let's go to the only other game in our Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Main Street Preps coverage area is Columbia Central at Dixon County.
Yes.
What you got?
I got Columbia Central by a touchdown.
By a touchdown.
Yeah.
Why a touchdown?
I feel like it's going to be close, but I feel like Central's going to make a play late one way or the other. I expect this one to kind of be that nail-biter-ish type game. I just think that, like you said, the wing T offense, if they get into it and they're able to shorten the clock and get some plays out of McCoy and Martin in particular, I think they've got a shot at picking up a big win on the road.
Did you go to practice this week? Can I expect anything? Or should I just say why I think they're going to win and how I think they're going to win?
No, go ahead. I went over there. They were not practicing when I went, but I did go through there and try to catch up with some folks. Oh, you can go ahead. I'm working on a story, but I've not completed it.
All right. Well, let's just say I've got the Lions by a toe. I think Columbia Central goes and gets the win. I think because they're going to shorten the game, it's going to be a close game. I don't necessarily think it's because of anything Dixon's going to do or anything Columbia Central isn't going to do. I think it's just because the game is going to be short, and therefore.
And in reference to Chris's by a toe, keep an eye out on Main Street Prep / Main Street Murray over the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
For an explanation.
Yeah, you should definitely do that. All right. We have successfully picked the 5 games in our area, except for one, the game of the week. And we'll wait. We're going to push that one to the end.
All right.
But let's go to Marshall County. Shelbyville, Marshall County, couple of guys that probably won't be on the sideline or on the field will probably be on the sideline. Mm-hmm. I think that's a problem.
I think that's a problem. I also think Cade Cunningham is a problem. I'm taking the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's unfortunate because I think with both
with
players,
Hammonds and Davis.
Yeah, with both
Marshall
of
County.
Those on the field, this is a much tougher game to pick.
Absolutely.
But I've got the Golden Eagles in this one as well on that fact. Moving to Williamson County, almost said Franklin County because it's Franklin, but Page at Franklin. I had this one picked one way, got some new information and went the other.
I had this one picked one way
and
got some new information and decided it didn't matter. And when we were talking about Lawrence County, Loretto, and you said you were going to go with the team that had not lost, Page has yet to beat Franklin. Of course, it's a smaller sample size. They've only played 5 times. They renewed this rivalry last year in a COVID game. First time they had played since 1984, but Franklin holds a 5-0 lead in this series. Franklin has won the last 5 games. They've won all 5 games, JP. I'm still taking Page.
Hey, more power to you, because I am too. I think with Bryce Sparks.
Oh, okay. So that's the information.
That was the information.
Okay. I thought you were referring to Jake McNamara.
No.
Okay.
No, with Bryce Sparks, I think Franklin wins the game. Without him, I think they're going to struggle. Now, whether or not Jake McNamara plays,
we don't know.
I don't know, and I don't think it matters, because Colin Hurd has certainly proven that he can play.
Well,
so
158 yards and 3 touchdowns in
relief.
Yeah. Hey, go get him, big boy. All right, bet.
So that's I'm going with the Patriots and Charles Rathbone
to break through in this series.
Yeah,
against the Admirals.
And finally, the Fast Stop game of the week as Independence travels to Lipscomb Academy. Mo, what are you thinking?
I really want to take Independence, and I really can't. 76 points is a lot of points. I don't think Independence is Greater Atlanta Christian, but between the 48 that they gave up last week to CPA and the 76 that Lipscomb scored, I got to go with the Mustangs.
Yes, I see exactly what you're, but again, I think a lot of that 48 is because the offense was unable to be successful. I think they're going to be more successful this week. I think there are some things that you will see that they did not do. Mm-hmm. Independence did not do last week that they will this week, and that is hopefully give the ball to 6 a little bit more often, mm-hmm. and in short yardage situations. And probably, maybe when they draw somebody off sides with their little
they get it called.
They don't get called against them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm with you. Lipscomb Academy is going to win this game. It'll be close, but the touchdown club and the game day staff does not like it when we pick them anyway. So we're just going to pick against them. Matter of fact, he said, you guys picked us to win, and I was like, yeah. He said, go back and change it. So,
well, here's the deal.
I got the Mustangs.
They want you to go back and change it so they can talk about us for picking against them. That's the thing. So, yeah. But it's cool. Well, I've been picking against folks for a long time. It's no big deal.
One particular group of folks can redo their trash talk videos and be talking about you this week, because I picked Mount Pleasant to win and you didn't. So,
all I'm saying is, if my picking against somebody is helping somebody win, then somebody needs to be cutting me some supplement checks.
Where's the cheese?
Show me the money. Yeah. So.
Oh man, that's going to do it for today's show. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Check back tomorrow. We got Titans, Braves. We'll talk about some high school games that did happen tonight. There's one particular out in East Tennessee that I definitely want to talk about. So we'll get to all that and more. But join us tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. For now, for Mo Patton and JP Plant, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day and stay cool, Columbia.